Oh my God.
Go ahead, say
This is a family program.
Is it? We're drinking beer. Welcome to the Charlotte Buzz, where we drink beer from local breweries while telling stories about the neighborhoods they're from. I'm Chrissy, and this is Drew.
And today we are drinking a beer from Legion, who won the Buzz bracket.
Heyo! But before we get into how they won and what that all looked like, I'm gonna need some beer in my glass.
Yeah.
So, can we also, for anybody who's watching this on YouTube, and if you're not watching this on YouTube, go look at it or go look at a Legion growler or half growler, because this is a fancy as crap, like, water bottle.
Vacuum sealed.
Vacuum sealed. It'll keep stuff cold for a full day. It'll keep stuff hot for 12 hours, and it was expensive, and I didn't understand why until they brought it out, and I am in love with this sucker.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy. And inside that fancy half growler is Juicy J, the Legion staple.
Yes. I'm going to still spill this. But carry on.
It's a 6.3% American IPA. Mosaic, Eldorado, and Cascade Comet hops join in harmony to produce a juicy tropical treat with a distinct dry finish. They say down here that each of these hops will dance along your tongue and gather for the grand finale.
Well, that is fun.
I mean, I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know, but man, this is an awesome bottle. There is still a tiny smidge in there.
Okay.
Did you tell us what the percentage of this is?
Yeah, 6.3.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to give this sucker a taste. I mean, I've had it several times, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most people listening to this have.
It is a staple. Okay, yeah. Crisp, fruity. I think I'm already biased because I'm pretty sure I already know it was pineapple flavors. I'm not sure if you said that.
I did not say that.
Maybe it was a mango flavor. Is that what you said? I read off the menu some sort of tropical fruit.
I didn't say anything about what type. I said tropical treat.
Okay. I think the menu at Legion says mango.
Sometimes they have like a mango juicy J, though.
They do, yeah. We did also try a blood orange one. IPA. It'll drink. Mm-hmm. Yeah, crisp and fruity. I don't know. You sip it. Give me some better details.
Can I do that?
You can try. I feel like it's one of the lighter IPAs. Maybe I've gotten a little too used to Dippas. But
yeah, I think so, because, I mean, it's definitely got that classic IPA, a little bit of bitterness.
Yeah.
But it's not, I mean, it'll drink. I mean, it's just solid, I think.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a staple of Legion. It's a staple of the Plaza Midwood area, and it's definitely a greater Charlotte staple.
Yeah. And now that we've moved past the snow and have gotten into warmer weather, this wouldn't be a bad one to drink on a hot day.
That's very true.
It's not too heavy.
We did have some of it on a nice snowy day a year and 3 months ago.
Yeah.
That was, if you listen to, I want to say the last podcast, we ended up, for my birthday last year, there was 3 days of snow. And so we ended up at Legion because it was one of the few places open. And they are open all the time and open at 2:00.
Which is on a Monday.
Right.
Nonetheless.
A bunch of breweries have been either closed on Monday or don't open until 4 or later. So props to you, Legion. No wonder you're a family fave.
And we had some pretzels, or one large pretzel.
Okay. I don't know how I turned into a pretzel and beer cheese snob, but somehow I did. And that is like one of my quests in the city, is to find the best pretzel and beer cheese. And granted, I realize it's just all based on personal preference. Like, you much prefer the like baked cheese, and I want the creamy sort of nacho cheese type of deal. But oh goodness, that pretzel and beer cheese. And I know it's like QC pretzels or
Queen City pretzel. Yeah.
But oh my god, that was good. I want more of that. We should have got some of that for this podcast too.
Yeah, and it was like torso size.
Mm-hmm. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was worth every penny of that sucker. All right, so while we're sitting here breaking this down, let's talk about how Legion became the 2019 inaugural Buzz Bracket champion.
Yeah.
Ba-da! As if it's a big shock, because anybody who's paying attention has been voting online. So we announced it on Monday during halftime of the NCAA game, which was a bit of a letdown, but whatever.
You weren't pulling for Virginia?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to lose to a 16 seed, should you really win it?
No. They're also boring to watch.
You know, that's what I hear.
Most of the time. They picked it up there at the end of that game, but that defense just hold the ball till the last second of the shot clock. Mm-hmm. Not into that. Mm-mm. I like my Duke Carolina run and gun, back and forth, nonstop action.
You get bored a little easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we went. It was a really fast weekend, because instead of 5 days of voting, y'all had 2 and then 3 to get to this final game. So we started the weekend with the final pour, which was Wooden Robot versus Resident Culture and Legion versus Heist. Mm-hmm. And so after 2 full days of voting there, we ended up with Wooden Robot beating out Resident Culture, which quite frankly floored me.
It did floor you. I mean, I was surprised too, but you were flipping out.
Yeah. I did not, and it's the same thing as the Noda. Like, I did not see Wooden Robot beating Noda, and then I was like, I don't know, Wooden Robot, they might keep going. I don't know. And you're like, chill out, Resident Culture, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then, holy crap, it was tight, but I mean, it was like 25 votes difference maybe, but still, that still floored me.
Yeah, 17.
So we ended up with an upset for the 5 seed beating out the 3 seed. And I don't know if you have any more comments, because I was about to jump to the next one. I don't want to cut you off before. Go ahead. So then we had number 5 seed Legion against number 2 seed Heist. And I'm not as surprised at this overthrow that Legion overtook Heist. I'm a little surprised, but not majorly surprised.
Okay.
Because Heist did come in there and start promoting, and so I thought it might be a little closer, but like I said, both of them were actually promoting on social media. Both of them now have that second location that's come out in the last year or so. And so they've got kind of expanded territories to be reaching. But I guess the longevity of promoting won out for Legion in the end. And they came out ahead by like 30 points. So it was still relatively close.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just really interesting that we had 2 upsets and ended up with the final matchup being Battle of the 5 seeds.
Battle of the 5s, yep.
Get it. Any comment on the final pour from you, sir?
I'm still heartbroken about my chicken and waffle tacos losing.
It's a beer bracket. It's not a food bracket.
Well, it's a brewery.
And what is the most important aspect coming out of a brewery? Chicken and waffle tacos.
Yeah. Brews and what to pair with those brews.
Yeah.
Chicken waffle tacos.
That would be your answer for anything, then.
I mean, they're pretty good. But,
yeah, but I mean that pretzel dough and that cheese. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you like the baked cheese better, you weirdo.
Heist.
You weirdo. It was the battle of the beer cheese there.
But yeah, Legion deserved it. They had, when they promoted it early, all the people that saw their stuff had skin in the game probably because their people filled out brackets.
Yes.
So they were all about voting.
That is very true.
And yeah.
So then after 2 days of voting there, we came down to our final matchup, Battle of the Five Seeds, Wooden Robot versus Legion. And obviously, Legion won out, and Legion won out big in this matchup.
Yeah.
They doubled Wooden Robot's votes in those 3 days. And I'm not exactly surprised, but I guess I'm slightly surprised just based on how impactful Wooden Robot had been the last two matchups.
That's true.
That, they came out of nowhere, in my opinion, to take down Noda, to take down Resident Culture, two heavy hitters, heavy contenders for the championship. Yeah. That by the time they got to the final, losing it by half was a bit surprising, but ultimately, yeah, they hadn't promoted at all. I'm not even sure this is on their radar. So I have to say, in the long run, I am really glad that Legion won because they were, I would say, our first adopter and promoter of this from very day one. And I really love that their persistence has paid off for them and that the Golden Growler is going to go to a brewery who really will appreciate it.
Yeah, when we send them a message, they won't be like, what you talking, Wills?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something I thought about when we got to this final matchup. I was like, if Wooden Robot pulls this out, we're going to show up at their place with the trophy, and they're going to be like, what the frick is this crap?
What are we supposed to do with this? Fill it with beer?
Right, they would be so confused. So on that superficial, but also like just really, you want to give a prize to somebody who truly appreciates it. So that's really awesome. I'm really excited for them. Congratulations, Legion. You've earned it. You're incredible. And you will forever hold the title of the very first Buzz Bracket winner.
Yeah, can't nobody take that away.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And we appreciate you immensely. So also, something pretty cool is as we got closer to the end, we got a little more nervous of what happens if the people who actually submitted brackets, what if we end up with, a dozen, 24 people who tie? And we had some fun ideas for drinking games and different tiebreakers, but there's also a limit. You can't.
We're not ready for that.
Right, we're not ready to have 30 people here trying to do a chugging contest in the middle of Legion. That would have been really stressful, and this kind of all came together very quickly, very last minute, and so we were pleasantly surprised to find out that there was shockingly only one winner of the bracket. And either way, even if it had been Wooden Robot, there would have been one person who had won it.
A different guy.
Right, a different person. Yeah. And then with the 5 points that they got for the win for Legion, a different person bumped up. So either way, it would have been just one winner. But it was the final matchup that gave our actual winner the edge.
Yeah.
So big congratulations to Gray. We have reached out to him. He will be getting $100 to Legion Brewery. And we'll get all those details to everybody involved later, but it was just a really cool experience. Really excited for Gray, for Legion, and for next year, and how we're gonna make it so much better with more time to plan it out.
Get 45 points or
48.
48, and what he missed 2.
Yeah. That was it.
Oh, he missed 2 out of the...
Impressive. Considering how many random upsets we had, and like I said, like shocking Wooden Robot shenanigans, and I'm impressed.
And you had to pick every top seed to win the first round, which sounds easy, but in my head, I'd have been like...
Got to get a 12 over 5.
There has to be at least one upset.
Right.
Has to be. But there wasn't.
We had a Cinderella in there. We had 12 over 5s. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I came in, 100 and something?
Mm-hmm. Out of nearly 450.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I did all right.
You're just excited that you beat me, and you're just trying to tell the world.
Yeah. I beat her.
Not by much.
Enough.
So, with that, I want to talk just briefly about Legion themselves, itself. The folk of Legion and the brewery. So, as we mentioned in our very first matchups, they were created in 2015. I almost said 2005. 2015. They were the first brewery in the Plaza Midwood area. And they have recently opened their second location in South Park. Their entire branding is about friends and beer, which if you are looking on the YouTube channel, you'll see that is their logo says Legion Brewing, and then it has their actual logo with the arrows, and then underneath it says friends and beer. And that's just really what they're all about, is bringing the community together, bringing great craft beer to people, and just building a community. It's kind of their whole...
Like building a legion.
What?
Wow.
Well done. So they say that sharing good beer with friends is one of life's greatest pleasures. And the two arrows in their logo are actually a Native American symbol of two tribes coming together. And to them, that means friendship. And so they wanted that to be the very foundation of who they are and what they are, is friendship and bringing people together. And so with that, I think it is also very fitting that they are the inaugural winning of the Buzz Bracket in this building community and bringing people together. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But I also just wanted to share a few comments from the crowd. The final day of voting, we put up on Instagram for both Wooden Robot and for Legion, and said, convince us why this brewery should win this final matchup. And so for Legion, a few of the comments were best environment, really care about the craft and neighborhood locals. Another was supporting local and focused on creating true friendship. Another said, it feels like coming home. Even if you walk in on your own, you leave with a family. And then we had...
Actually.
And then there were just several that were, best beer, best vibes, best atmosphere, best staff, sexiest bartenders. That was a real one. All kinds of just...
I feel like a bartender wrote that.
The amount of ones that's just a Juicy J, enough said. All of the above. Really great ones. But I thought they had just some really... really deep answers for a little Instagram thing.
Didn't they also say they throw an awesome party?
Well, someone who commented said it was great and they would throw an awesome party if they won. So, Legion, let's make it happen.
Let's throw that party, huh?
You have my attention. I'm in. I was like, I don't know how we'll contribute other than awesome trophies, but yeah.
We'll show up.
Yes.
That's enough, right?
I mean, it's all about bringing friends together, so let's do it. Let's have a party.
Yeah. I mean, we got to become friends first with them, but...
Legion, let's be friends. We like friends.
Yeah.
We're idiots. But yeah, so that's Legion. Like I said, I have a new connection.
Love.
Yeah. I appreciate them. I respect them. I am very grateful for their participation and support in the bracket.
Yeah.
I am very glad that they won because of it, and show how I'm glad that they received what they deserved based on their efforts. And overall, I really love their mission and what they're trying to do as a brewery. So I think that's great.
Cool.
So with that, we are going to dive deep into the Plaza Midwood area for a third time on this
Braisdale.
That was I was like, what? I was like, that was the Concord episode. I see what you did there. Yep.
3.
Took me a second. I'm slow.
Golly. Yankees.
Sheesh.
Don't understand their NASCAR.
I'm from Poconos. Pocono 500.
Yeah, fake racetrack. It's like a triangle or something.
It
ain't
is.
no oval.
It's really weird. It is.
We mean it's only got 3 turns?
Yeah, it's really strange. It is super strange. That is not a lie. But yeah, so our first episode that was Legion focused, that was Plaza focused, we went deep in history. The second, we went current/future. And thankfully, I guess we haven't covered Legion until this point, because I don't know what we would have done had they won and we'd already done it. But
I don't know.
now, I guess we're going to see potentially somewhere in the middle that we're going to fall to do some storytelling. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you tell us the story first.
Sweet. All right, so I'm going to talk about the VanLandinghams.
Okay.
Quite a long name.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Ralph VanLandingham.
Say that 5 times fast.
Maybe later. Ralph VanLandingham was born in Charlotte on November 9th,
Hey.
1875, just 114 years
Before one Drew Golden came
yours
into
truly.
the world. Hey.
You know, also 114 years before the Berlin Wall came down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that the same day you were born?
It was. Coincidence? No.
Turn down walls since birth.
He was the son of John Henry.
Tearing wombs and tearing walls.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, say
This
that.
is a family program.
Is it? We're drinking beer.
He was the son of John Henry VanLandingham and Mary Oates Spratt VanLandingham. That name I've heard before. I don't know from where. The Mary Oates Spratt.
Spratt sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not anywhere I could even remotely begin to pin down.
Yeah. I don't know. His father owned a cotton brokerage firm,
Oh,
and he would later join that same firm and become a very successful cotton broker. But I'm not real sure what a cotton broker
I
is.
was gonna ask, and then I was like, I don't think he knows.
I think it's like... I think it's like realtors.
You just because it has the same word doesn't mean it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
they
a cotton
either...
field realtor.
Yeah, well, not for like the
Yeah, I
actual
know.
land, but sold cotton to other cotton folk.
Okay.
Like they took it from the farmers to give to the mills. You know, maybe a middleman, a liaison.
Anyway.
I don't know. Or maybe it's just a fancy way of saying plantation, but in the city.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm gonna
I can just see him with like
a.
a 8x10 shed with like just cotton in it, and like people coming by and like buying handfuls.
Yeah.
That's how I think it went down.
Naturally.
So Susie, Ralph's soon-to-be wife, was born Susie Harwood, and in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
She later moved to the South when her dad got a job with the railroad.
The railroad.
Ended up being a high official.
Was he in charge of naming them? Because he needs a smack in the face.
Yeah, it was like Florida East Railroad Company or something like that. So I don't, you know, if he was in charge, he was just as creative as the other railroad people.
Awesome.
But I guess that pays well to be a high official for a railroad.
Sure. In that time, for sure.
Yeah. So after her father's death, she ended up moving with her mother to Atlanta, where she headed a company which built the first fireproof hotel in the state of Georgia. This is another thing that I don't know what that is.
I was going to say, I was like, okay, first of all, rock on for a woman leading this in that time.
In early 1900s.
Yeah, so one,
Or late 1800s.
rock the heck on to her for that. Two, You say the first fireproof hotel as if there are multiple, and you said in Georgia as if there are those elsewhere in the country.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would like to know where on the planet you can find a fireproof building.
Now,
because I don't know that such a thing exists.
Yeah, two things I have to say about this. Either it was just 100% concrete, beds, no linens, just concrete bed, concrete walls, or it was like a Titanic situation where it's like unsinkable. It's fireproof.
I hear you.
And then it wasn't.
Because, I was going to say it also depends on the time, but I mean, my head goes, well, okay. Recently been watching a documentary on the Netflix about the 2000s, being a little nostalgic to some of my high school, college days. And, of course, 9/11 is going to pop up in the 2000s. And so that's what I'm thinking. It's like, obviously no one said the building was fireproof. Yeah. But thinking of you get enough heat in the right conditions and metal's going to melt and metal's going to crumble. And
unless you're a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, yeah. The government totally blew that ish up.
Yeah.
Totally.
Have you heard of Building 7?
What? But yeah. Coming from someone who grew up an hour outside of New York City, an hour from the towers, and our local people had to go there, and my entire neighborhood was commuters in there, I got a lot of thoughts about that kind of crap.
I mean...
But nonetheless...
It's conspiracy for a reason.
Yes.
It's not just...
Yeah.
Truth.
What?
Yeah.
But that should be the new series of a conspiracy. The new title of a conspiracy theory, documentary is Truth.
Yeah.
Or Truth.
Or a conspiracy that conspiracy theories aren't really
that
theories.
Conspiracy theories are so out there because they're actually hiding the truth of what actually happened. They put out
So conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories
to cover up the reality of what actually happened. So what we know happened, the conspiracy theory to be those people are crazy, to drive us back toward what they want us to think, but there's really a third thing even deeper.
Yeah.
Hashtag truth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All I'm
saying is... Did they kill
is...
Osama bin Laden?
You never know.
That's another episode.
I mean, that whole thing happened so quick, they didn't get his official... ship, right? Yeah.
Please.
Or...
They'd have parades where they just rode them through town. Right?
But I'm just saying, given the right conditions, nothing is fireproof.
Yeah, I mean...
Bringing us back.
And maybe they were just talking about the building itself, not the...
Right, there's a million things that could have been directing it toward.
People are spontaneously combustible. There's stories, conspiracy theories on that, of people spontaneously combusting. So, how do they account for that?
I am sure under any set of the exact right circumstances, stuff can happen.
Yeah. So anyways.
Yes.
So she's in Atlanta. Headed that company, Fireproof Hotel. Ralph and Susie meet in Atlanta. Not sure what Ralph was doing there.
He chill.
I guess he's got broker things to do. Broker's got a broke.
Yes. You're not wrong.
Yeah. So, couldn't really find out what he was doing at that time, but they were married in 1901 in Susie's Hotel. The Majestic Hotel.
Oh.
Or, the is not part of the name. It's called Majestic Hotel. Okay.
I also come from the Poconos where there was Caesar's Palace was a resort in the area. And so it's known for the big champagne glass, jacuzzi tubs in the rooms and stuff. And that's all I'm envisioning is this and I realize it's significantly earlier in history, but the 70s style, really weirdly bougie, but so strangely bougie type of thing. That's just the
beds
picture
that you
I've got.
put coins in to shake.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. And I realize obviously none of that was there in that time, but I feel for that time, that's just the image I'm getting is some sort of really weirdly out there type of place.
Or it was just majestic.
As if.
Quit trying to make up conspiracy theories on Majestic Hotel.
I do what I want.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have looked up Majestic Hotel to see if it's still there. Didn't do it.
Fair enough.
Maybe I can add some text if I figure something out.
Will you forget?
No.
Okay.
So they ended up moving to Charlotte in 1907 and initially lived with Ralph's parents.
So it's not a millennial thing.
No, yeah, this used to happen.
Okay.
I guess.
See, that's what the millennial generation is doing. They're just trying to bring back traditional values where several generations of the family lived under one roof.
Yeah.
Bam. Mic drop.
Or maybe
You're welcome.
People's known all along that this happens. And there's just conspiracy theories out there.
Or the social medias. And just
Yeah.
put it all out there for everybody to talk about.
Who knows?
Carry on.
So I guess Susie just couldn't deal
I mean, that's fair.
with the in-laws.
That's fair.
So they ended up buying a house on Central Avenue in Plaza Midwood. Susie was known to be the life of the party.
Hey.
Liked to have large gatherings. And I guess she just couldn't deal with the size of the house. Couldn't hold enough people.
Oh, I was like, too big?
Too small.
Party girl. Okay.
So she gathered $6,000.
In that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And listen to what she bought with it.
Oh, goodness.
3 lots 6 through 9 at an up-and-coming Chatham Estates in Plaza Midwood. It was a streetcar suburb. Suburb of streetcars. And those lots were located at the intersection of Belvedere and the Plaza.
Wow.
So they built him a house. I think it's like 4 acres of land.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
6-9 lots. You know, she was just like, hey, I need space for my large parties.
She's trying to Gatsby her life.
Yep.
Before Gatsby was a thing. She was pre-Gatsby. Innovator, this woman.
Yeah.
Trailblazer.
So it seems like Susie's been like making the calls here. But it seems like Ralph finally got to put in his 2 cents. And he wanted the grounds to imitate the Appalachian Mountains.
Interesting. I say interesting because my first thought is you want to try to build a house on like a whole bunch of bumpy hills?
Well,
but then it was, is it, let's build a house and then have like landscaping that mimics the mountains? Okay.
So they spent their summers, and Ralph spent his summers as a child in Linville, North Carolina.
Whereabouts is
Out
that?
west.
Okay.
Mountains.
I mean, that makes sense. Again, not
if
native.
If you wouldn't have asked, I would have told you exactly where it was at.
I mean, that was good enough. I just, not native. Needed a little directional assistance.
So from a child, he'd spend his summers out there, and him and Susie'd go out there. And so they fell in love with the place. I guess she was okay with it. So they put up a lot of trees. Oh, okay. Right there, close to Boone.
Okay.
Grandfather Mountain.
I've been there.
Yeah, Linville Falls. I believe Michael's jumped off of there.
Of course he has. Michael's his brother. He does all the things. He's out of control. Super athletic, super crazy.
So, just the type of trees he brought in, real lush.
So he wasn't trying to necessarily build mountains in his backyard, just trying to like imitate the greenery landscape.
Of it. Yeah, so he's got trees and just real. I think there's a pond there.
Okay.
Just wanted to feel like a mountain escape in Charlotte.
Okay, I can dig that.
So,
I mean, if she gets her party house, that seems fair.
Yeah. Interestingly enough about that, though, apparently there is a website that talks about trees in Charlotte. And I learned through it, I will link it below because I don't remember what it's called. It's called like the Queen City Crowns or something like that. What's the top of a tree called?
Oh.
Canopy, I think is what it's called. But it was like something like that. Like had something to do with,
Okay.
So it talked about interesting trees in Charlotte.
That's, I mean, who knew, but I'm interested.
I mean, we'll have to further research some stuff in that.
Yeah.
But he had a coast redwood brought in, which is the same tree.
Like a redwood forest.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Those are freaking huge.
Yeah.
I drove my pickup truck through one.
Yeah.
Through one. Like, they cut holes out, and it's a tourist attraction to drive a pickup truck through
Yeah, but those
a
trees
tree.
have been here for thousands of years.
I mean, yes.
So it's not that big yet.
Sure, but...
It could be. There could be like a single redwood in Charlotte looking like the freaking Rea Road tree.
And then they're going to be so, like, vindicated. Like,
Yeah.
say...
See, there's tall trees out in the middle of nowhere by themselves.
As everybody else just head shake of disappointment.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. Normally, I don't really care about trees. I mean,
Outside,
They give
green
us
stuff. You don't like
oxygen.
none of that.
oxygen's cool and all. But like, if you said, "Hey, like, take a left by the oak," is that a big tree, small tree? What kind? What's going on? I don't like. Did you put a blue paint strip on it?
Hey, Blue Blaze,
Yeah.
that's a brewery.
I wouldn't know. So I thought that was cool though, because
Yeah.
they are not around here.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to know where that is and then drive around at random.
Other
and
side
check
of
it
the
out.
pond. If you go to this place, other side of the pond. There's a picture of it on this website.
Okay.
Maybe we'll go check it out
I'm
and
okay.
report back.
I'm good with that.
So whenever Ralph Jr.
Okay.
had the house later on, he brought in a guy from UNCC to like kind of redo the grounds, kind of upkeep it. And in his journal, he said that volcanic matter was brought in to amend the soil for the tree.
I wish anybody listening to this podcast could just see my face right now. What? I mean,
I don't
dang.
know.
Is there... I mean, there's not even volcanic matter in Cali. Like, Hawaii, but not... Like, California's not volcanic. I realize it's on the ring, but it's not quite...
They put air quotes around it.
Okay.
So he may have not been correct, but it looked like volcanic matter. See, I had to reread this because at first I thought I read that Junior called in this expert, and then it said in Junior's journal he said volcanic matter, and I was like, oh, so Junior was a kid. Did they say that Senior called this guy in? And then it was like, no, Junior called this guy in, so he's older. But it seemed like something that a kid would say. So
Okay.
I don't know. But it
So,
just seems like
nonetheless, they took very special care to do everything they could possible for this tree.
yeah, so it's got to still be there.
I think we
be.
definitely need to take a trip.
Yeah, and it's called thequeenscrown.org, by the way, if you want to check that out. Celebrating Charlotte's canopy. They got pictures, coordinates, the spread of the tree's 40 foot,
Nice.
species. I mean, they got stories about trees. Craziness.
It must be interesting because, yeah, for anybody who doesn't know you, green stuff and outside are not your jam. Not one bit. That's all me.
So that's crazy.
If you're interested, let's go play outside. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check it out if we can.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why it's questionable in a few minutes.
Oh, no.
So Ralph got his Linville mountain-like grounds, and Susie was finally able to throw her Gatsby-esque parties.
Pre-Gatsby parties.
But while she was doing this, she served in the community. I'm going to just list off things that she did.
Okay.
Quite a busy woman, sounded like. She served as regent, I don't know what that is, of the Halifax Convention chapter.
All right. I'm like, Halifax is a place in Canada and a band, but okay.
Daughters of the American Revolution, I guess she served as a regent.
Okay.
She was chairman of the North Carolina Board of Approved Schools.
Well, all right.
President of the board of St. Peter's Hospital.
Okay. Is that like a precursor to CMC, aka Atrium? Because whatever. But.
Funny you should say that.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
But at St. Peter, where she served as president of the board at St. Peter's Hospital, she financed the building of the emergency waiting room and named it after her mother. Named it in honor of her mother.
Okay.
And was a forerunner for the Carolinas Medical Center.
Hey, called it.
I mean, I guess she was just part of the original committee to get it started.
Awesome.
She also received a personal commendation from President Woodrow Wilson for her supervision of the Red Cross canteen at Camp Green during World War I.
Rock on. This chick, man, like, I mean, I'm not like overly feminist. I'm just feminist enough. We're like, yeah, equal rights, rock on. Like, I know enough about, 1920s and women's suffrage and Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony and that whole shtick, but this woman needs to be on that list. She probably isn't. I just didn't remember her, but rock on.
Possibly.
She was very, like, progressive in her time, for sure.
Yeah. El Presidente of a lot of things.
Yeah. She running the show, and especially that time, not bueno. Rock on, girl.
Yeah. The Charlotte News characterized her as a woman of rare gifts and a person of unmistakable quality. Perhaps the most distinctive characteristic of Miss Ralph VanLandingham, the newspaper asserted, I guess I don't know about that, was the range and depth of her interests.
Okay.
So
she was well-rounded.
And it seems like that. You know, board at a hospital, chairman of the board of North Carolina Board of Approved Schools. Yeah. Daughters of American Revolution.
So feminism, education, health, party girl.
Yeah, loved her parties.
Allowed her husband to be an arborist.
Yeah.
And other things.
Yeah, he liked his trees and his cotton. Mm-hmm. You know, she wasn't the only part of the family that went out. You know, he was like a high standing person at St. Peter's Church.
Okay.
Helped around St. Peter's. I think St. Peter's is that one that's like a historic landmark in the middle of Charlotte too.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
I'll have to double check.
Okay.
But
it's
still kind of there in Charlotte.
In their own way, they're kind of power couple.
Yeah.
I mean, they were able to one, in that time, being a power couple is unheard of because being a woman of any kind of power, equality is nothing. Like, that's non-existent in this time.
I would say, though, if you have a powerful woman back then, it was probably a power couple.
I mean, sure. You needed to have a man who was willing to support that. Yeah. Because legally, she had no ability to become that if her husband didn't stand behind her. Yeah. So, you're not wrong.
Yeah. And I didn't list all that. She did a lot of great things in Atlanta as well. Mm-hmm. Just wasn't important for her podcast.
Mm-hmm. She kicks ass.
So, and
that's all.
He liked her for that. Maybe,
rock on.
Because she was already doing it when he met her.
I respect that.
So, maybe that's how he met her. And
he said, heck
let her keep on keeping on.
I like it. He said, she gonna keep on keeping on. And she's a party girl. Sign me up.
Yeah. So, the reason I told their story, though, to tie back into recent today.
Well, either way, my feminist self is appreciative.
Yeah.
Just ending there, but tied in.
Their estate, for a while, was deemed a historical landmark. Mm-hmm. And there has been a bed and breakfast / wedding venue. Oh. It's called the VanLandingham. I think that's their name. It's so long. Okay. The VanLandingham
yes.
Estate. Mm-hmm. So in party venue. Mm-hmm. Suitably so.
Sure.
Suitably so.
It works.
Yeah. So, but there's been some trouble hasn't been as profitable as he would like.
Hasn't been managed well.
Well, it seems like he's tried different things.
He junior?
No.
He senior?
Whoever runs it.
Running it today. Current.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, that's fine.
He also runs another inn, and it's successful.
Okay.
So I think just maybe placement.
Need some better marketing tactics.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, shoot, if I knew that kind of history, I'd be like, heck yeah, I want to go in one of the original American feminists' places to get married.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Like
We need to go be his marketing team because I'd be all about that.
He tried some things like picnics on days that it wasn't booked. That went well for a little bit, but and then he's trying to like divvy out some of the land to make townhomes, do like a pool, and like they all got turned down, and then he was allowed to do the townhomes without the pool.
Strange.
Which seems weird.
Yeah.
But just recently, he sold it.
Okay.
For $1.5 million.
Hey.
He sold it to Ascent Real Estate Capital and Stono River Partners.
Oh no, that means they're gonna tear the whole thing down and make it a freaking community.
It's a historical landmark.
So they can't.
Well,
Don't leave me in suspense. Just tell me.
we don't know. The managing principal at Ascent, John Dixon, said the company wants to build on the property's history while providing for its successful stewardship in the years to come. So that didn't say anything.
No, yeah, that said absolutely nothing.
But so I guess we'll have to wait and see. He said that he also doesn't want to go out and get his morning paper and be known by his neighbors as the guy who tore the house down.
Promising.
So if it's gonna happen, I don't think he wants to be the guy that runs the
bulldozer.
Yeah. So
we need to go see it soon.
Maybe. Don't know
Just
what's
in
gonna
case.
happen.
Just in case.
Yeah, I don't
Knock on the door.
and
Hey,
I
can
don't
we
know if
just
you
wander
can.
around?
It may be fenced off now or something.
I mean, we could try.
But just thought that was interesting. Found that in the Plaza Midwood
Yeah, I like
Google
that.
News, and
I like that. I'm all for freaking power women, especially even well before the 20s when it was a little more acceptable, you know. Rock on. Thank you for that.
And so I found that the house was sold, and I was like, oh, cool. This is a family name. Let me search it. Searched it, and was like, Frank so-and-so, Ralph, not Frank. Ralph so-and-so was cotton broker. And I was like, there's a story there. Dead end with Ralph.
Dang it, Ralph.
Thank goodness Susie was there.
It is kind of hard. It probably dead ended for Ralph because Susie was such a name that it was like, well, he was probably a big, successful man himself.
Yeah.
But because Susie's success was so great, especially considering the time period, that it was like, oh, he's just more of the same. Screw that. Let's focus on her. And so he just, to a certain degree, was lost to history. But like you said, I totally agree that unfortunately, in that time, like without his approval and support, I mean, she wouldn't have been able to be. I mean, she still could have done it on her own, but in a married situation, if he had said no, like squashed, done.
So VanLandingham's estate. Mm-hmm. It's there, the corner of, what did I say? Belvedere and the Plaza.
All right.
Still there. That house.
We gonna have to
it's
check
a little
that out.
bungalow.
Little bungalow. I like it. Well, I'm going to take us to a little more tawdry.
If I knew what that word meant, I would be like, yeah. Tawdry.
If you're pointing here at the growler, I've already emptied it into our glasses. It's empty.
Oh.
That's it. We don't have 2 growlers like we did last time.
We should have done a half growler and a crowler.
Or we should have gotten a full one so I could use it as a water bottle, because...
So I guess I just sit here parched while you're talking.
I reckon. I mean, I've only got a sip left as it is.
Okay. Well, continue.
I reckon that's just how good Juicy J is. Must be why they won.
Must have been.
So, tawdry is scandalous, bawdy,
You can't describe a word I don't know with another word I don't know.
I mean, I can.
But I still will not know it.
Sexual, slutty, not socially acceptable.
Okay.
Or like in the social outskirts type of thing.
Okay.
I'm going to take us to, I guess, some other like female empowerment in a certain way. But, okay, so really what it started out was I was looking at a story that was another Plaza Midwood first.
Okay.
Which led into, which again, like zero information on.
Yeah.
Zero information on.
It's almost like sometimes when
like
we're
history tried to forget it.
Yeah, it's like Charlotte doesn't have a history.
Yeah.
When we're looking stuff up sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like it just, all of a sudden it was just here.
We need to hang out in that Charlotte history room more and see what they've got in there, because I think that's the only place the history exists.
Yeah.
But, so I started out looking at this one thing that's a Plaza Midwood first, which led me into the person who kind of oversaw it, which led into a different Plaza Midwood first, also perpetuated by the same person.
Okay.
And so I guess this kind of becomes more of a story about the person and what he's done than the individual things.
Okay.
But it's really less about him exactly and just the things he's done. So he is just the linking factor to two different things that are interesting.
So it's more about him than the things he's done, but it's more about the things he's done than him.
Totally.
Okay. Let's see if we can follow along.
All right. So we've got this man, and I'm going to butcher his name terribly.
Okay.
His name is Michael Plumides. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go with Plumides.
Just call him Mike Plum.
Michael P. Sr.
Okay. Oh, there's a Mike Plum Jr.
Yes.
Okay.
And so Sr. Is a lawyer in the 50s, 60s, 70s Plaza Midwood area. And I believe it was 55. His brother, I want to say Thomas, maybe John. He wasn't the focal point of the story.
Tommy John.
Word. His brother officially opened a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of those that's 4 or 5 names in it. But it does have that.
Was it Plum, and Plum?
It was not, but Plum is one of them.
Okay.
Opened a law firm and joined forces with his brother a little bit later in the game.
Okay.
Law firm still active in the Charlotte area.
Okay.
I believe they are housed in Uptown at this point. But
okay.
It may have always been in Uptown. That's not the point. Michael P. was in the Plaza area.
Okay.
He has been described as flamboyant and a maverick in the law game.
Okay.
And he is responsible for Charlotte's first strip club, or Plaza Midwood's first strip club. I'm not quite sure about Charlotte in general, but Plaza's first strip club. It was called C'est Bon, which of course caught my attention because it's French. Mm-hmm. The title's French, if nothing else. And go ahead.
Did they want him to draw them like his French girls?
If you just heard that click on the audio, that was me dropping my head in shame and my hat hitting the microphone. Yikes. I mean, nothing is on record.
Okay.
Perhaps there were advertisements that may have been printed, may have been drawn and copied. I don't know.
Draw me like your French girls.
But his name was not Jack.
It was Mike P.
Mike P. Mike Plum. Right. So, He ended up in a very long legal battle with, I'm not sure if it was the city or the neighborhood or exactly how the
It was set up
region set up, at the time. But basically, Charlotte had a lot of really vague obscenity laws. And so he was trying to challenge them and ended up opening the strip club in the 60s, late 60s. I could not find an exact year. And was just like, yeah, let's do this. That legal battle was never resolved because in 1974, the establishment mysteriously burned down.
I thought you were going to say he was murdered.
No. He actually died, I believe, I'm not sure if it was 94 or 2004.
Before.
Sometime during our lifetime, he passed away. Maybe 97? I don't know. I looked at a lot of dates. The 70, like the 4 might be from it burned down in 74. Hard to say. So, mysteriously burned down in 1974. The interesting part is that there was 17 different businesses, mostly in the same style of establishment. Obviously not, like, this was the first, so they weren't all strictly this, but they were, like, just different clubs and night hangouts and bar, like, kind of big picture similar avenue.
Okay.
Or maybe ones that weren't explicitly, explicitly like a strip club.
Massage parlors.
Yeah.
Okay.
17 of them burned down.
Same night?
No. Over a decent bit of time. Several, same year, like maybe not all of them in the same year, but
yeah.
There was
however they could get to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
There have been discussions about possible mob connections with this kind of things. There was one man who owned one of the establishments who said he knew exactly who did it. The person who did do it confessed it to him, but said if you tell anybody, you're next. And so this man has been living in fear ever since, with that they would burn down his own home, and had no doubts that if he was in his home, he was going with it. That it wasn't just a matter of let me burn your property, it's I'm taking you out. And so he only stated that on the record, being completely excluded from the process himself. So we don't know who he was that said this. And he did not say who it was that told him this.
So this is a conspiracy theory.
What? We have come full circle. Nonetheless, there was, questions of mob connections. We've got people being threatened who do know what's going on and who are afraid to talk. The police came out saying that they had several very good ideas, or they knew who it was, but they didn't have enough evidence to convict them. And anyone they talked to surrounding that were all too afraid to talk to the cops.
Okay.
Which goes hand in hand with this whole mob connection thing. Who knew? Charlotte mob. I didn't.
Maybe next week.
Maybe we'll actually get into the Charlotte room and dig up some dirt. But something interesting is, of those 17 businesses that burned down, 4 of them had some sort of connection to the Plum family. 2 were direct owned establishments.
Okay.
One being C'est Bon. Mm-hmm. The other 2 it didn't distinctly say, but because him and his brother were both lawyers, I suspect it has something to do with their kind of legal connections or representation of those establishments. So that's kind of where that ends. There's no real information. They're all still unsolved. They basically, came out of it saying, these people did it. We just do not have enough evidence to collect to prove it, which also sounds very mob-like. And so they remain unsolved and unconvicted.
So if you have any information, please call Plaza Midwood Neighborhood Watch I don't have that number.
PlazaMidwood.org, we talked about last time, has a neighborhood crime watch. So maybe report it to them.
Yeah. Send them an email. contact form, fill it out.
If you are the man who knows who it was and he confessed to you and you're like starting to kick your own bucket, maybe this time.
Okay.
But Mr. Michael Plum Sr. is responsible for a second Plaza Midwood, and I believe Charlotte first. He shot or produced the first independent film in North Carolina.
Say, you were talking mobs,
I know,
burning
I'm
things
sorry.
down, and you said he shot.
Well, I don't think he's the first. I don't think he was the first person to shoot something in North Carolina in the 60s, 70s. He produced the first independent film in North Carolina. It is called The Night of the Cat. It was produced in 1973, and some have called it the worst film ever made.
It's definitely the worst title ever.
It has been described as a cult classic and a sexploitation. And I did a little research, and I need to grab my laptop here. And there is an IMDb for it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot on the IMDb for it.
Okay.
It exists as a page. It gives a full cast, and director and that kind of thing. Director, writer, that. It gives a picture, like an image of whether it's a poster or like a VHS cover. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's 73. Yeah. I don't even know if in 73 there were VHS.
Probably just slides.
I mean, I really don't know. And I feel like that sounds really stupid to say, but...
It's Betamax.
I don't know. So it doesn't give a specific synopsis or any of that. There's no photos.
No trailer.
Nah.
No Rotten Tomato score.
There is one user review.
Okay.
This user gives a synopsis.
Okay. Is this Mike P. the third?
It is not, but Mike P. the second is now a writer and film director himself. And just finished producing a film in 2018. Let me go back to this. Oh, so I'm going to take us back for a second now that I've got my laptop in front of me. The law firm is Plumede, Romano, Johnson, and Charis. It's Cacheris.
Okay.
So it's PRJC is what they kind of go by.
Okay.
And they currently reside on South McDowell Street in Charlotte. Okay. But they are still a thing. However, Michael G. Plumede Jr. is an author and a producer. He recently won an award, a Saturn Award. Not entirely sure what that is, but he won a Saturn Award. I
don't care about Earth Awards, though.
He wrote a book. He has been working on films. He's got an IMDb page for himself, where he just recently finished a movie as the executive producer called Ghost Trek: Confederate Ghouls.
Oh.
Yep.
So Blockbuster.
That's the thing. It was finished in 2018. So
okay.
Like very recent. I actually found him on Facebook because in my Googling, there is a Facebook page called Bleeding Skull. I don't know exactly what this group is about.
It's the mob.
I didn't dare dive into it further. However, there is a post by Mr. Michael Plum Jr., who I guess this Facebook group has a blog or a website and had written a review of The Night of the Cat written by Michael Plum Sr. or produced by Michael Plum Sr. And so he came on to their Facebook page to basically make a bunch of corrections to be put onto the IMDb page. And he was like, And so he specifically said, my father produced this. I know, I was there. This was the budget. My father mortgaged our house to make this film. My brother did this part in the film. My mother did this part in the film. It was filmed in the house my mother still lives in today in Charlotte, North Carolina. Please add this information. Blah. So that's all out there.
Cool.
However.
Yeah, that review.
Yes. It is something special. Because, of course, I have no idea what this film is about. So again, it's a review. Bias. Whatever. It is titled Shoddy Regional Action Cinema at its Best/Worst.
Same but different.
Yes. Blonde Beth gets horrible news that her sister has been murdered by some mob types running around in Charlotte, North Carolina. She teams up. Yeah, I know. Mob connections already. And this was produced a year before his place burned down, potentially by the mob.
So this is nonfiction.
Maybe.
True story.
She teams up with a reporter named Tom, who tells her all about head honcho Mr. Demons' routine of getting girls hooked on drugs and then using them as prostitutes. Man owns a freaking the first strip club.
This is a memoir.
It is. His routine of getting girls hooked on drugs and then using them as prostitutes. Oh, Mr. Demons also has a phobia of cats. So Beth starts taking karate lessons, dyes her hair black, and decides to bring down Demons on her own. Kind of sounds a little bit like, what's that, Jennifer Lopez movie? Enough.
Okay.
Where she's like, all right, I'm gonna learn to fight. I'm gonna change what I look like, and I'm gonna take you out.
But Catwoman.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so she decides to take him down on her own. I'm usually a big fan of regional action flicks, but this one is a pretty trying experience. Director Jim, I'm going to call him Sank. It's Cinque. So my French self is calling him Sank, because Cinq is Sank, and that means 5. So it's just a UE. I'm going to call him Sank.
Do that.
Director Jim Sank has a unique style in that he opts to tell the audience nothing 90% of the time and let you fill in the blanks. Seriously, Beth just shows up in one scene with her new look, and I had no idea who she was. I actually watched this again in fast forward just to make sure I got everything straight. The "he's afraid of cats" bit is rather funny, but it is never used in Demons' downfall. And it's called The Night of the Cat. In fact, there is one scene where he is terrified of a cat, and then it is forgotten. Now, I get that Beth is supposed to be cat-like in her all-black getup. No thanks to Sank. But even that isn't capitalized upon. They couldn't add a "who are you? I'm the cat" type of scene. The director's shoddy staging is perfectly matched by his awful filming. The fight scenes in this have to be seen to be believed, and static shots will have edits in them moving characters' heads around. The film's sole highlight is probably a car chase where it totally looks like the other drivers on the road had no idea a film was being made and thought they were seeing a real police chase. I wouldn't put it past Sank for opting not to let everyone know. And that's a review. That is the review.
Did he give stars? How many stars did he give it?
Yes.
It says it right there.
But it's out of 10, I believe. It looks like it's 4 stars. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 4 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't know why it's 10. Nonetheless, I really want to watch this film to see what's going to happen.
You go ahead. You ain't even seen Top Gun, and you want to watch this? No. That's wrong.
I'll watch Top Gun, and then you'll watch The Night of the Cat with me. We'll find a VHS tape, hotwire it to the computer. So nonetheless, Mr. Michael Plum Sr., quite an interesting fella, brought Plaza Midwood its very first strip club. Its very first independent film.
And the mob.
In a potential memoir fantasy Catwoman shenanigans.
Okay.
So, I'm not quite sure what our obscenity laws are in the Charlotte area these days, but they've been challenged, they've been mobbed, and they didn't stand because they all got burned to the ground. And that's it. I mean, there's not really an end to that story. He died, a couple decades later. There was nothing really noteworthy in that in-between time that I found. Mm-hmm. And his son has kind of picked up the torch, maybe not in quite an explicit way, but, he's writing novels, he is producing movies, and
one of them, at least, is probably in law. Because the law firm still has his name on it.
That's true. Unless his brother is still alive, but I imagine he would be quite old if that's the case. But who knows? But yes, so he's also, Mr. Senior is also part responsible for a law firm that still exists in Uptown.
Nice.
Cool.
So, thank you, Ralph, Susie, and Mike Plum.
For keeping our town interesting.
Keeping Plaza Midwood.
The party place.
Yeah.
It's the party place.
All right.
Well, we're going to let y'all digest on that for a week. And want to come back to saying a big thank you to everybody who participated in the Buzz Bracket, who submitted brackets, who voted, who helped promote different breweries. If you are a brewery and promoted.
Yeah. It became bigger than we kind of imagined. Maybe not more than I wanted.
But considering how quickly it came together.
Did well.
Yeah. So we're really proud of it. We're very grateful for everybody getting involved. So big thanks. And we pretty much since day one saw plenty of places that needed improvement. And we cannot wait for next season because we've got bigger and better ambitions for it. All the way from who even gets picked into the bracket and letting you be part of that. And yeah, so make sure you stick around for all of that. Hang tight with us on social media. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, all the things to let us know how we're doing and get those first updates as voting starts for those preliminary rounds to even make it into the bracket.
Yeah. Don't leave us until next time.
Right.
We're going to still be doing stories as we go. Episodes will probably be getting shorter.
Yes, which is actually probably a little better.
Yeah, back to the original time frame.
45-ish.
Yeah. And maybe better stories we'll have.
We'll have be able to dive deeper into stuff because we won't feel as time constrained with discussing the bracket matchups as well.
Yeah. And more beer.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're going to learn to do full growlers now, so.
So, thanks.
But yeah, so hop over to Legion. Give them some love for being Charlotte's Best Brewery 2019. And it's expensive, but man, this growler is a worthy investment. This is so pretty. I wish you could see it if you are just listening to the podcast. But send them some love and follow our social media because when we do present them with the Golden Growler, we're hoping to make a little bit of a thing of it. So maybe you can be there and hang out with us. Say what up.
Yep. So
we will see you all next week.
Check you later.
Bye.